Yo, what's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Welcome all. Welcome all. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Double Touch Show.
New year.
New year. This is the first live episode of 2023.
Yeah.
So, guys, welcome. As I said, welcome to the Double Touch Show 2023, first edition, where we discuss and analyze, of course, topics and try to challenge the mainstream media mindset. MMM. Try to say that 3 times fast, KR. And of course,
Hmm.
as an objective point of view, at least we try to do it in an as objective point of view as possible. Hope you guys are all doing well. As you know, I'm RJ here with KR. Thanks for everyone who's following the live show. And of course, we can't forget those who are watching the rebroadcast.
Yes, sir.
Let's see, guys. Let's see if everything's working correct. Put some ones in the chat if you can hear us so we know that we're not struggle streaming. You can do that just by pressing 1. Just want to make sure that you guys don't miss out on anything.
Think everything is all right. So,
All right.
guys, remember to like, follow, and subscribe the YouTube on the YouTube, and of course the Instagram and Facebook, where we try to post more regularly this upcoming year. This year, not upcoming, this year, and try to keep you guys up to date. And we're trying to create a new strategy for social media, so you guys can go also engage with us in Instagram. So
Yeah.
all I
Thank
can
you.
say is thank
Yeah,
you for the people who have been following so far.
exactly. We've seen a spike in our the amount of subscribers, new subscribers. Though, well, if you look at the total, it might not seem much as much at this point, but definitely we've been investing our time and resources in this show, trying to make it bigger, trying to make it better, to improve the quality, and we've definitely seen a spike in the amount of subscribers and KR, the amount of watch hours.
Yes,
So
viewers, people are watching.
yeah,
People
people
are
are
watching, and people are very. They are responding to it, giving some feedback, discussing in the comments. So that's what we want to see. That's what this channel is about. So,
yeah. Shout
guys,
out goes out to the trolls as well.
oh, I love them.
Yeah. Guys, before we proceed with the full story and the full show of today, we'll add the usual disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this show and video do not, uh, on the Double Touch Show, do not necessarily reflect the opinions of KR, myself, nor this channel. All topics are for entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. All commentary is alleged. So, guys, this is not the news where they're telling you the truth, but they're actually lying. We're telling you everything is alleged. Shout out
Shout out to.
the mainstream
I
media.
cannot say. I cannot use her
No,
name.
no channels, no channels.
She's not
Um,
paying, so shout out to her though.
Guys, we're not financial or life advisors. The purpose of this show is purely to provide entertainment and share our thoughts and opinions with our followers. And of course, we want to hear your thoughts and opinions as well. For personal advice, either financial, legal, or life advice, we urge you to seek out assistance from relevant, the respective professionals in the field where you required assistance. Because they can give you tailor-made assistance that will fit your needs.
Hey, it's a bit different, but I think this is more suitable because sometimes I spin the block different way that you would like to.
Yeah.
So Yeah,
It's good to throw the alleged from
alleged.
each
Everything is
part.
alleged, people.
All character.
Whatever KR says on the mic is all alleged.
Yeah,
Don't
RJ
don't
as
don't
well.
believe him.
RJ as well. And guys, the names mentioned in this show and characters are fictional.
Oh man.
Oh, Jesus.
Guys, before we continue, please like the show, the live show, the rebroadcast as well. It helps us really with the algorithm. Um, basically, that way it gets recommended to other people, and that's one thing that's definitely what we want to. I mean, I think it's good to have these dialogues um, in the comments, but also in the show. So please like the show. And with
Yeah.
that being said,
And KR, you mentioned it already, but guys, that your subscription means a lot. You know, your
yes,
commitment with the channel means a lot. So the like is good. We really appreciate it. Definitely helps our videos. The comments as well. You know, every little engagement goes a long way. But at this point in time, we have a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers. So it would really mean a lot to us if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already.
Hora do show! Bora! Bora! Hora do show, porra!
Okay.
yes, it's time for the show. We have a lot to discuss in today's show. I mean, as the title already says, with the Salesforce and Amazon layoffs, who is going to be next? Who is going to be next? Basically, we will be focusing on the layoffs. Is there a layoff in your future? If you're currently employed by a SP 500 company, who knows? We will be discussing that today. Um, we will be using, as we have now the new structure, 3 chapters to discuss this. The first chapter we will be discussing what is happening, has been happening basically since last year. We will discuss the layoffs that were announced this past week. In chapter 2, we will be talking more about basically how we came to this point. And I guess in chapter 3, you would already guess, we're going to talk about how you can continue from this point if you are one of the people who were nominated, let's call it that way, to leave the company.
Selected.
Selected nomination.
Sounds like a Squid Game episode.
Hey, wouldn't that be something if
So if you had to play for your
you have to play for your position,
yeah.
and they broadcast it. I mean, people will
Oh,
oh, guys, copyrighted. It's copyrighted. We're copywriting it right now.
yeah.
Yeah, so RJ, please add the link to the chat so the people can call in if they want to
Yes,
add their 2 cents.
yeah, we'll do so. And KR, it's good to mention as well that at the end of the show, we're gonna do an experiment. You guys might have heard about the Chat GPT. That's a very interesting AI
Trending topic.
software that's trending topics. So we're gonna ask the software. We're gonna ask the AI some questions relating to today's topic, today's theme. Yeah. So curious to see what
Its
answers
opinion.
we will get. Yeah.
Maybe the GPT will become a frequent guest.
Well, it depends because I don't want it to replace me. Yo.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Think it's time for the first chapter.
Where do we begin?
So, big tech has had quite uh, a quite tough last few quarters,
Yeah.
you can say, with uh, with Shopify, the layoffs from Shopify, Twitter, Meta, and a couple of others, which started already early last year. In order to refresh your memory, we have selected a couple of videos which we are going to look at first. And please let us know if you can hear the audio.
It's not the only company doing layoffs. Lyft, Stripe, and Open Door all announced this week they're going to be cutting their staff. For other companies that are not doing layoffs, but they're not hiring either. Among them are Qualcomm and Amazon, which says it's putting a pause on hiring, quote, new incremental hires. Even Apple's reportedly freezing hiring because of concerns about the economy slowing. And we continue to see that list, especially of tech companies, pausing or cutting jobs, growing longer.
So that's the first one. This was in November, and you could already see that Apple announces a hiring stop
Are
of
Qualcomm
pause, as they call it. Amazon also said we are pausing our hiring, and Lyft already had fired a couple of people. You would be surprised how many layoffs were last year, by the way. I have a list. We will go through it later on. So
It's a
please
long list.
stay. It's a very long list.
Long list. Yeah.
Some did a spin the block, came back and fired again. You would be surprised. So that was the announcement in November. We have also basically the one from Meta.
Meta laying off about 13% of its workforce on Wednesday. That comes out to around 11,000 employees. Yahoo Finance's Ali Garfinkel had the opportunity to speak to some of those now former Meta employees. And Ali, what did you learn from talking to them?
Hi, Shauna. Yeah, what I learned was that they all felt, in many cases, completely blindsided. Now, this is a little surprising given that the ways in which we know the company was struggling. But the messaging they were getting internally was that layoffs were not being considered by management at all. That, of course, started to change over the weekend. And what a lot of them described was a shifting work environment. Things started to be a little tense and people stopped working as much. One employee even said to me that they stopped working because they weren't sure if they were going to be there on Thursday. So that was the environment they were operating in. And how did we get here?
She pulled the plug on. She pulled the plug. She said, "I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna take the risk. I'm not gonna let anybody decide my destiny. Take it in my own hands."
Yeah, it's a 1 minute, so I'm not gonna continue that. But that's basically what you have with. Wait a second, was this? Well, it's a bit longer.
Right. I'd love to reference what Mark Zuckerberg himself said, which is that he got this wrong. At the beginning of COVID, it looked like the digital ad market was going to speed up. And this is what he said, right? At the start of COVID, the world rapidly moved online and led to the surge of e-commerce. And the surge of e-commerce led to outsized revenue growth. Many people predicted this would be a permanent acceleration that would continue even after the pandemic ended. I did too, so I made the decision to significantly increase our investments. Unfortunately, this did not play out the way I expected. The bottom line here, Shauna, is that we're doing this on a day when that actually in the markets is the most optimistic we've seen tech in a moment. But having spent the week talking to these Meta employees, stock up 10% today, right? It's still really hard to feel optimistic about where Meta is headed, and they certainly were not optimistic either.
Yeah, certainly an unfortunate situation for 11.
Well, wouldn't surprise me if you were fired. You wouldn't be very optimistic about where they are heading.
No. And it was what I just realized is that I don't know if you can recall, but in 2020, when we had the whole staying at home due to the pandemic,
On COVID.
on COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the tech companies blew up.
Yeah. All the stocks.
All the stocks went up, and
You will look at that as well later on.
okay, cool. So that's to me. It's probably it went too. It was too big of a growth, or it was a momentum thing, and now it's heading back to normal. But we'll discuss it later.
Well, the pandemic was a black swan moment, We've never seen that before. Well, I'm talking about modern times, and I'm not talking about back in the days.
I think in a couple of years' time, we'll just say swan. Yeah, the way things are going.
The way things, the wokeness is. Well, you might. I'm not gonna say you're wrong on this one because you might have a point there.
You can't say any. Why is okay? But
I'm curious how Nassim Taleb will take that. He won't take that very lightly. I'm telling you that.
He need to rethink. He rewrite his title. The title of his book.
He might write a whole book on it and a Twitter rant as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So due to the pandemic, like you said, a lot of stocks rised. Sales of a lot of these tech companies rose to new heights. Shopify was doing very well. The engagement on Facebook and Instagram, all those rose to new heights. And I mean, you have to take care of that some way, somehow. And I think they wanted to do that by hiring new people.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll discuss this later, how that all panned out.
Okay.
Shopify shares getting.
This is the video of Shopify, and they will talk about what I just discussed.
Crushed today on news. The Canadian e-commerce company will lay off approximately 10% of its global staff after making the wrong bet on how long the pandemic-fueled surge in online shopping would continue. The CEO, Toby Lutke, taking full accountability here, though, saying, quote, ultimately, placing this bet was my call. I got to make, and I got this wrong. You got to like the accountability there. Shopify, just the latest tech firm to announce plans to cut staff or pull back on hiring over inflation concerns, rising interest rates, and recession fears. Shares of Shopify, SHOP, now down 14% on this day and a staggering 77% year to date. Just another pandemic play getting hammered today, Rochelle.
I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, the pandemic was really a black swan event. So to see so much extra hiring during that period, it was really a matter of time before it was going to fall off. And people were starting businesses. They were loading up on Shopify. And they really thought this e-commerce boom limited to Shopify was really going to last. He said perhaps would change things for the next 5-10 years. But as people get more back into stores, they're starting to look at other brick and mortar businesses. Shopify losing some of its edge there. We see the same thing with Peloton. They were all gung-ho during the pandemic, thinking that some of these trends would continue for consumers on the other side of it. And we're seeing that that's not the case. So Shopify probably going to have to get a bit more creative at this point to really stay afloat.
Yeah, I think they will. And I think Wall Street's kind of searching for what the future will potentially look like for Shopify. We're seeing that reflected in their shares today. You talk about the fact that they might have to change their business here going forward to adapt to this quote unquote new normal after the surge that we did see in interest during the pandemic. So some of these pandemic winners are trying to figure out what business is going to look like post-pandemic. You can see it reflected. Shopify today, 1 year, the stock off 80%.
Wow.
Yeah, so those were the ones that were eye-catching last year. And as she says, Peloton was one of those companies. They were doing pretty well during the pandemic. You would see them everywhere. Ads after or during NFL games. LeBron was one of the face they used during those ads. At least LeBron is very lucky that it didn't went belly up like FTX.
I was just
But-
about to say. I was
He chose the right one. He chose the right one.
just about to ask you if Brady was also.
That's a good question. I have to check, but I don't think so.
Right.
Brady went all in on FTX. No need anyone else. So that resulted basically, that was last year. So here's a overview of the general tech layoffs of January till November. As you can see, it started slowly but surely. In June, it spiked a little bit, then it dropped again. And basically, towards the end of November or towards November, it started spiking again. Basically, because of the Q4 numbers. You see, you won't make you're seeing that you won't make the finish line, so you have to drop some deleted weight. Let's put it that way. Gotta drop some weight, otherwise you won't make it.
Yeah. Do you think, KR, out of 100, let's say 100%, what percentage of employees do you think follow the stock market, or more specifically, follow the value changes of
company.
their company, of the company where they work at?
Probably less than 5%.
I think less than 5.
Yeah, probably less than 5.
It's probably even if they hear that things are going wrong, they don't think that they would get fired, or that there could be consequences for them.
I think the only people who are actively watching are the ones who have a package, an option package.
Compensation plan. Yeah. Okay.
I think unless so the other option is if you've already bought into the company yourself as well. But most people don't buy stocks within the company they are working for. Maybe because it's a bad company, maybe they don't, or maybe they're not interested. But most people don't have. If you have stock options, I think it's very advisable to look at what the stocks
I
are
think
doing.
so too. I think so.
Keep an eye out. Gotta keep an eye out.
Yeah. Okay.
I captain.
Okay. I was just curious. That's why I asked.
Yeah, but yeah. So it's obvious that it wasn't going the right route. The trend was set already. It's delayed firing, because a lot of the companies that fired before or during COVID, those were the non-tech companies. A lot of companies went belly up during that time as well. Or they are going belly up right now because of results of both high energy prices, and all that comes with that. Higher salaries. But yeah. So as I said, the layoffs continued in this year.
Shares of Salesforce rising more than 3% today as investors cheer mass layoffs. The software company cutting around 8,000 jobs, or 10%, in the latest headcount cut in the tech sector. Said CEO Mark Benioff, quote, "The environment remains challenging and our customers are taking a more measured approach to their purchasing decisions." Salesforce, like many tech companies, boomed during the pandemic with people hunkering down at home. With the soaring revenues came similar headcount, growing from about 48,000 to just under 80,000 at the end of October. That's an increase of more than 30%, Shauna. It is not the beginning of tech layoffs. It appears to be far from the end.
It certainly does. And I thought it was interesting, Benioff really just taking responsibility for this, for the fact that Salesforce grew way too quickly. He wrote part in that letter that you just wrote that we hired too many people leading into this economic downturn we are facing. And I take responsibility for that. And I think this is largely reflective of the trends that we're seeing more broadly throughout the industry, rather than this being a Salesforce specific issue. Because when you take into account the fact that clients have been starting to scale back some of their spending, a lot of that being done in the enterprise space, which clearly affects Salesforce, and more reflective of the softening that we're seeing more so in the landscape, rather than Salesforce losing some of that ground or losing market share to some of its competitors. The stock, Dave, has been hammered over the past year, shares off nearly 50%. I think many on the street were maybe not expecting, but weren't necessarily going to be surprised if Salesforce was in fact forced to lay off people, given the fact that they scaled so quickly. But that 10% number might have been a little bit higher than what some analysts were initially expecting to see.
I think it most similarly follows.
I think it's as they said, basically it's a ripple effect.
Yep.
Other companies are spending less, resulting in you getting less revenue, less income. And with that being said, you cannot carry all the costs you have. It's really simple. So it's obviously it's a clear sign that we are entering the R word, not rated R. The word that Uncle Joe tried to avoid for the whole 2022.
Well, in his defense,
Whose defense?
Uncle Joe's defense,
Okay, tell me.
he probably wasn't willingly trying to avoid it.
Oh, he probably forgot the words. No, but it's recession. It's obviously, guys. It's we are going that route, or at least whether it's light or a heavy one, we don't know yet. But it's obviously that companies are a little bit less easy with the spending, just to keep some cash in hand, because you never know when you need it.
Yeah.
But I think I stopped it here as well, because you can see here a quite interesting chart. The layoffs early 2020, because of course on COVID. Then it went pretty well, balanced out, and now you're seeing the ripple effect after.
Yeah, because tech did well, right? Tech
That did
very well during
Yeah,
the
bit too good for myself.
because so you could
I
see
was
that.
crying in Q2 of 2020, but
So Uncle Vit came end of Q1, I believe.
no,
2020. Yeah,
well,
2020.
Uncle Vit came in
Q4 of the previous.
Q4 of 2019.
Yeah, but it became
really-
a problem here. Let's say in the West, in
Q1.
at the end of Q1, beginning of Q2, and that's why you see the spike. But of course, many people who stayed at home, they had nothing to do, so all they did was go online and use tech, and so that's why the tech industry thrived as much. So
Imagine if I don't know why these thoughts went to my head.
okay, sure. Curious to know.
Imagine if P-Hub was those numbers would have looked crazy.
I mean, the sales of the wrist brace stock must have went through the roof.
Oh man. Anyway, this is the Salesforce basically announcing earlier this week that they are going to lay off a significant amount of people, and there's also non-tech companies who are laying off people. Goldman Sachs, for example.
Across the firm, you'll see them especially deeply in consumer banking. Goldman has spent the last 5 or 6 years trying to become a major Main Street banking player, and it really hasn't worked, and they're sort of dialing back a lot of that ambition. Part of this is just that the headcount sort of exploded over the last 3 years. They've added 10 or 11,000 people. Some of that is laying off the annual layoffs. During 2020, it was fairly insensitive to be firing people. Last year, everyone in Wall Street was making so much money they didn't have to. So a little bit of just kind of yearly housekeeping. But this is the deepest cuts I can ever remember at Goldman. I've been covering the firm on and off for almost 10 years. They didn't even cut this deeply during the financial crisis. So this is a serious round of layoffs.
How much of a black eye is this for the CEO, David Solomon? Because you compare him to Lloyd Blankfein, the previous CEO, who almost seemed untouchable. This is a relatively new venture. Is this an admission of failure for the bank? Was it simply a case of bad timing? What's your view?
I would start by noting that Lloyd ran a very different firm than David does, very different Wall Street, very different environment. But yeah, this is a black eye. I mean, look, they were recommitted to this strategy, not just 6 or 8 months ago. So, what I've been hearing in the last couple of weeks is that the numbers that are being floated, individually for layoffs keep getting bigger, which suggests to me that not only is there a hole, but that they're still getting their arms around how big it is.
So this is just the start for Goldman Sachs.
Yeah. 4,000 is not a lot. It's not a little.
It's not a little. No. But there will be more, apparently. And the thing with this is what you see in so far in all these videos is that the CEO is at least pointing out that they chose the wrong strategy to tackle the growth in or not tackle the growth, or to grow with the growth.
But
again,
hindsight is always 2020, KR.
Yes,
and
that is
I think it's easier to get. Let's say if the demands get higher, if the market demands more, the quickest way to be able to meet the demand to increase would be through people, because it's either people, capital, machines, and land. But people, those are the 4 factors, I believe. I don't know if I'm not I got this in secondary school, basic economics. But these are the 4 factors, right? And people are, let's say, for quick, let's say for quick solutions, people are the best options. And I think they knew it already. They should have known. It's not like a surprise. Of course, you have to say it to be politically correct, but come on.
As a C-level, you know what you're doing. So
yeah. By the way, I just looked it up just to see, let's say, what we're talking about. Just to give it some perspective, the 4,000 jobs that are being cut in January.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. So in 2020, Goldman Sachs had 4,500 employees. So the 4,000 would be roughly 10%. I don't know if they mentioned the percentage in this video.
45,000, you mean?
40,500.
Okay, 40,000. Okay. Yeah, you said 4,500. I was
no, my bad. No, that's everybody. That's a bankrupt company right there.
That's why.
Yo,
I'm like,
ChatGPT has
I'm like,
everything.
it's coming fast.
Yeah. No, 40,500. 40,000.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's
So-
basically 10%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
More
it's
or
not the end yet.
It's not the end yet. No.
Not the end. So over the past year, so you can see here, the tech companies, tech industry has laid off roughly 150,000 people. That's not a little.
No. No.
And it seems like it's not the end yet. So
No.
we'll see how this will be going. But if you look at it from the perspective of per company, you will come up to the following graph. Amazon announced, as most of you already know, that they will plan to cut 18,000 people, 80,000 jobs worldwide. These are basically more centered around the corporate. So which is kind of a thing you will see with a lot of these companies. It's not the field crew,
So not an
the
operational.
operational level. Yeah, it's more corporate that's getting cut now.
Mhm.
You have Twitter with 4,000, Salesforce, who has cut about 10,000, 8,000 jobs. It's about almost 10%, 11% from of their workforce, which is remarkable because do you know that it's almost the total amount of people they have hired through the pandemic.
Are you serious?
They before they had 7,300 I'm sorry 73,541, and now they had 79,824. So you would say roughly a little bit more than they hired, but it's basically the whole crew they hired.
The Great Reset. Yeah.
That's not you want us banned, I think.
No, no.
Arjun.
Come on, man. Come on.
Well, it was a great
It's a
reset.
Great
but
Reset. That's what it is.
others that also fired people. Vimeo announced that they were going to lay off 11%. It didn't reach the main news platforms, but they are going to lay off 11% of their personnel. This is, by the way, their second round. They already laid off 6% last year in July. If you look at it from Goldman Sachs about 10%. The companies that fired people last year, I'm gonna go through the list. You have Cisco. In December, they did 5%. DoorDash laid off 6%. That's about 12,000 people. 1,200. Sorry, Jesus, why? 1,200 in November. Amazon. In November, they already announced 1%, and now they're again doing a couple of new ones. Meta, 13%. That is 11,000. You can see here also in the graph. Twitter was a special one. From all the companies, Twitter was the one that took the crown. They fired 50%.
Is that including the people who quit? Because of course you had people that quit too.
Yes. So the layoffs were 70 3,700, and if you can see, as you can see in the graph, it's 4,000. So I think that is the difference between, I think 300 people extra quit themselves.
Okay.
It seems like,
All that
because these
commotion,
are the numbers I can see here.
all that commotion for 300 people.
Amen.
It's what the news wants to pick up and run with, I guess.
You will look at your prospects out there, and you'll find out real quick that the grass maybe ain't greener. Hey, wouldn't that be something? You jump ship to the wrong ship. Oh man, I'm not gonna. Life can be harsh sometimes. Guys, the grass ain't always greener. That BBL of a company ain't it.
Yeah.
Anyway, others that laid off people. Peloton in October, 500 people, 12%. Like I said, they had two rounds. They also in February of 2022, they fired 20%. So they double dipped. Others that also fired people. DocuSign, you might know him.
Yeah.
9%. Snapchat, 20%.
Wow.
1,300. SoundCloud, 20%. Lyft, 2%. Substack, 14%. Coinbase, 14%. Sorry, wait a second. Substack 14, Coinbase 18, Netflix 2%, 150 workers.
How many?
Cameo, huh?
2% Netflix?
2%, yeah.
But how many people?
150.
Okay. I understand what you mean with canceling. I was about to. That's good.
What?
I understand what you said. You asked me just now whether I want to get us canceled. Remind me to tell you the joke offline. Guys, that's why we're gonna, when we reach 1,000 subs, we will open a Patreon. Maybe we'll do it sooner. But we do have our jokes that
We might have to open it sooner because the jokes cannot, we will not keep the jokes away from you guys.
No, okay. Yeah, continue.
We have Cameo. I've used Cameo the past year. Not saying, I'm gonna say why, but it had a good. The goal was okay. It reached the target I expected it to reach.
All right.
But even they fired 25%. I guess my money ain't helping there. Robinhood laid off 9%. And Virgin Hyperloop also went all out. 50%.
Is that from
Yeah, Richard
Branson? I was about to say Action Bronson. I think I had to bid
Action Bronson.
I had to
Guys, if you don't know who Action Bronson is, Action Bronson.
drank too much coffee this morning.
You might they might have spiked your coffee, you mean.
So I've
This is Action Bronson and Richard Branson. They don't even look alike. Look at this.
You could fool me, man. No.
POP, hold it down, right?
POP.
Probably can't see either. So this is the team who's working on the Hyperloop ID. I think Elon Musk is also working on the Hyperloop. By the way, I didn't know Virgin had a Hyperloop project. I didn't even know. So that's, for me, it's surprising when I saw it on the list. Guys, if you have other companies that we missed, please add them as well, because I think like you can see, it's a it's a huge list of companies that have fired people over the last year, and we're now at day 7. So last year and 7 days. As you can see as well, others that have also layoffs, other layoffs, Booking.com, Groupon, Uber, Better.com. So it doesn't stop there with the ones we mentioned. RJ, you have some 2 cents for this? You
Yeah.
have something you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I based on the layoffs and the topics, I went to look at the so what are the rules
Mm.
for dismissals. And as you know, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not a US lawyer. No, so I don't, these are not things that I have, information that I have based off experience, but purely off of research. Um, you see that there's a difference between common law countries.
Mhm.
The United States is one form, and European or they're not, well, European countries, but you call them civil law countries. Um, Oftentimes, you see that in the U.S.
Before you continue,
Yeah.
for the viewers, what might be the difference between the two?
So, common law countries, in common law countries, court decisions are essential for the. So you do have written laws, codified laws, you say, so written laws written down, but you go look at court decisions. Court decisions play a bigger role. In civil law, it's more what the law says. So you do have the, let's say, court decisions that play a role because sometimes they give an interpretation on a certain matter. But what you would see is then that shortly after the that rule or that nuance would be added in the civil law. So that's basically the main difference.
Okay.
The main difference. Right. That's why the judges in the U.S. you have the Supreme Court. It's very important. They always announce who the judge is, the new judges in the Supreme Court. You do have Supreme equivalent to Supreme Courts in various countries, almost all countries, but they don't get that attention.
There's not much weight there at the top.
There's a lot of weight, but the importance their decision plays in the legal system, I would say, is less, or is at least seen as less significant than in the common law system. That's why with the whole Roe versus Wade, you see it changes everything.
Yeah.
So and you don't. It's not that common that you see that a judge in a common law system can influence certain laws that much. Yeah. So, and there are also nuances, but basically, from what I discovered, is that you have in the U.S. the so-called WARN Act, and WARN is an acronym. Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, and that act is basically, it's a law that is applicable in situations where there are mass dismissals, right? But it doesn't apply. So it doesn't apply to, let's say, if you want to dismiss one person or 10 people, but it only applies in situations like these when we're talking about high numbers. And basically, it comes down to, let's say, the law strives to protect the employees. So each one of these companies would probably have to, I think all of them or almost all of them fall under the WARN Act. So they would all need to give the employees at least 60 days, a 60-day period. So it's a notification period. They can't just come and fire them automatically. Sometimes what you see is that the employees get sent home immediately, but they would receive their pay in the 2 months. So they would not need to work at the company, probably due to fear that they would use you don't want the employees to use the last 2 months to really sabotage things.
Yo, by the way, I know some crazy stories, dude,
Yeah.
about well, both sides of the coin,
Both on the
preventing people from sabotaging, but also people who sabotaged
yeah.
after they left. They forgot to turn off the account.
Oh, so okay. Yeah. So that's why oftentimes, depending on how it goes, but especially in it depends on the responsibilities and all those things. But there's a protocol. These companies have a protocol for dismissals as well as mass dismissals. So, but so the WARN Act is only applicable for big companies. You need to have at least 100 employees or more. So all the companies we discussed today have more than that amount. And yeah,
Twitter,
you need.
I'm not sure. No, I'm okay.
What did you say?
No, I said Twitter. I'm not sure anymore. But I'm just
Twitter,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Twitter been firing. No, but you also have like the severance. So the employees have the right to severance pay, and the severance pay basically is for the first 20 years. From what I read, the first 20 years, you get 1 week of salary for each year, and from your 21st year onwards, you get 2 weeks salary per work year. So if you work, for example, 25 years, you would get for the first 20 years 20 times 1 week salary, and for the last 5 years, you would get 5 times 2 weeks salary. You can imagine, oftentimes, and this I can tell you out of experience, a lot of times these people, I mean, you can look at the money, but you need to take into account that they would need to.
RJ,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Your struggle streaming, dude.
How so?
Your struggle streaming.
How so?
You kept freezing up
Okay. I'm not
2
getting
times actually,
okay. I'm not getting
and the audio.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
What did you hear last?
To be honest, I can't. What did you say?
So,
Please
what
repeat. Last half a second. Half a minute.
Yeah. So what I said was that So did you hear the calculations I made? The calculations.
No.
If you work 20 years, you get.
Oh, that part. Yeah. That part I heard.
Okay. So what
Basically, you were at the
Yeah.
that, right after that.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that you need to remember that a lot of times these employees, you can look at the numbers, but these are gross numbers. So you need to deduct taxes from these numbers as well, from these amounts. And you need to take into account that these people have obligations. Sometimes they have mortgages. Sometimes they have, other costs. And that money can be spent real quick. So that's why at the end of the show, I would just want to talk a little bit about, what are things that you can do as an employee in situations where you are not so certain about your future at a company. But yeah, so that's basically the act that majority of these companies we're talking about today would need to adhere to. Common disputes are because, of course, sometimes KR.
Tell me.
Sometimes people, the employers don't want to pay, or pay as much, especially not for someone who didn't perform well or whatever. And so you need to be careful as an employer in situations like this, that confirmation bias doesn't take over. Because what you see is that sometimes the employers try to nickel and dime their employees, which can result in wrongful termination disputes. Either they say no, but the Warren Act isn't applicable in your situation, or yeah, but we're going to calculate it differently. So these are all disputes that can happen. If you're lucky, and I say lucky, as an employee who's being let go, that you're lucky if your employer just makes it quick and easy, quick and clean, because it's probably not going to be easy unless you haven't worked. However, if you're not that lucky, you can have an employer that will try to make your life miserable. So basically, add insult to injury, and yeah, that can really have it can have a pretty impactful psychological effect for a person. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Just a little bit about
The law
legal,
aspect of that.
yeah, the legal aspect.
Well, legal aspect, yeah. So basically, what you're saying is, if I listen to what you say, it's very beneficial for companies that the current culture of people jumping from company to company, it's very beneficial to them, because people who are not really long at the company, or people don't stay these days any longer than maybe 5 years, 6 years. And
Yeah.
that's even a lot.
Yeah.
They will only get like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Tops.
So during the last 2 years, when we had the whole what do you call him, Uncle Vid,
Uncle Vid, yeah.
the whole Uncle Vid situation, what you saw was that it was, especially in the tech market, it was a employees market.
Yeah.
Right. I saw there are some shows that I follow about entrepreneurship and business, and they did a lot of marketing for tech studies, tech, online tech school, tech education, et cetera, because their opportunities were good. And a lot of people, it wasn't uncommon to hear stories about people who started at a job earning 80,000, 6 months later found another job, earned 100,000 a year, found another job half a year later earning 150. But you can go from 150 to zero. So it might be turning, at least for a short period, for this particular time, it seems that it will switch and become an employer's market, where the employer knows that, because the employer knows that there are a lot of people out on the streets, a lot of people for them to choose from. So this is definitely a time for recruitment, for
A switch.
better talent or changing culture, things like that.
Clear. I mean, it's tough, but I think you basically, is there, by the way, a difference? What is the big difference between, let's say, a common law and a common you said civil law,
Civil law,
in
yeah.
this case, related to, if you compare basically the American way of doing the firing versus, let's say, the European way of doing it?
Well,
You don't have to go into details, just the major points.
I would say that so I can speak of whole
Europe, of
Europe,
course, that's a
but
continent.
Europe, so Europe and the European Union, it's a pretty I don't know, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it being common law versus civil law necessarily.
Mhm.
Might, but European countries are oftentimes they have more social programs.
Okay.
So oftentimes for example, in the Netherlands, you need to ask for permission, even if you want to dismiss one person, right? And in the US, there's this, what's it called? I forgot the name, but in the US, you can actually enter a type of agreement where you can fire the person without needing a cause. I forgot the name. I'll just look it up so we have it. It's called an at will. So at will, do it at your will, at will employment. So basically, that's a type of contract where the employer and the employee agree that either party can terminate the agreement without needing a reason to do so. It's basically, in other words, the hire and fire. So I don't know how it is, for example, because England is also common law. I don't know if they have, if their hire and fire system is more similar to the US than to the European continent. So I can't. But I can talk about the US. The US, the hire and fire culture is pretty heavy. So the protection you would get in Europe, in the majority of the European countries, you wouldn't get, or the European countries that I am familiar with, you wouldn't get that in the US.
Clear. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So that's the end of chapter 1.
Guys, remember to like the video and of course subscribe to the channel as well. We really appreciate your support. We've been seeing growth as we've already mentioned at the beginning of the show. We are basically, our watch hours are great. We're really happy with the progress we're seeing, but we also want you guys to commit to the channel. You've watched the content a couple of times. I know commitment phobia is, it's so 2022. Subscribe to the channel and support us. We definitely appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on social media as well, particularly Facebook and Instagram, as KR mentioned at the beginning of the show. We will start posting more on those channels. As you know, we are continuously developing the show, the production, etc. We put a lot of time in it.
We're building it as we fly.
And yeah, you can follow us. Feel free to follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook, because we will definitely start posting more on those platforms.
Thank you, RJ. So we are now at chapter 2. In chapter 2, as I discussed, we will dive a bit deeper. How did we end up here? But before we start talking about that, I want to point out one particular name they are calling this recession or this firing round. This is currently being called for the...
Good afternoon.
Wait a second. No. It's getting called the Richcession.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because well-off Americans could get hurt more than usual in the next downturn.
Yeah. This is how they are calling it, the Richcession. Because as you can see, we've discussed this earlier, it's a lot of corporate jobs are being slashed now, not the operational ones on the lower levels.
Why is that actually, KR?
Why?
Yeah. So why would you fire? Because I also read it, but why would you fire the higher level employees? What would be the reason other than
their cost to start with?
Their salaries are higher, probably.
Salaries are higher, and if you cut the middle management, you put more people that So if you look at it, and this is just how I think why they are doing this way. If you fire the middle management, the company still can operate. The only thing is that the middle management might have more pressure, but things will still keep on rolling. If you cut at the bottom, first of all, you're not cutting enough because they are earning less per person, and also it might hurt your operational level,
Yeah.
which will result in worse performance.
So basically, what you're saying is, let me see if I understand you correctly. I'm gonna just paraphrase it. But you're saying that if they cut out people on the operational level, their production will go down. So
Chances
they
are,
just need. So it's better. Let's say they probably have a strategy already, so they don't need people on the tactical and strategic level as much. They just need they need to reduce costs and perhaps maintain or increase production, which is why they
yeah. What you sometimes see is that, I mean, I don't know these companies' structure, so it's hard to say. But a lot of times when companies grow, sometimes they create layers in the middle management and the C level and the operational. They create just layers of on top of layers. You have which creates kind of a way too cluttered in that middle. So I think they are basically removing that cluttering, making it a more flatter organization. That's how I see it, guys. If you think I'm wrong, I don't know nothing what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments. Let us know in the
please
comments.
don't hesitate. If you
Don't
think
hesitate.
KR is
Keep
wrong,
me humble. Keep me humble.
uh,
What did you want to say, RJ?
at what point?
No, just a second ago. I just before I said keep me humble.
I said, guys, do not hesitate to let him know that it's not all that, man.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you guys how the stocks have been moving in 2022, and you will see obviously where this might have gone wrong for a lot of these technology companies. You already see the stock returns are going down. Technology is. Oh, wait a second. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let me play it back. Let me pause it first. And that's the thing with life, you know. Sometimes you need to readjust so people can see it well.
That's no problem.
Let me go a little bit.
So, what are the colors?
The colors here are for the sector.
Okay.
So the blue is the green is industrial, blue is basic materials, light blue is technology. This one is energy.
Light green is
Purple.
technology.
What did I say?
Light blue.
Oh, I'm blind as well, guys.
POP.
POP. Um, oh man. So yellow is utilities, purple is consumer staples, red is real estate, orange healthcare. I would say light orange is financials. This is the light blue.
Yeah, that's a light blue. Yeah.
Communication services, and pink or light red. I don't know what is this.
Pink is pink is.
Pink, it's more pinky, right? No, not pinky. More pink. Consumer cyclical. Tesla, Amazon. So basically, I'm gonna play. So you can see the development. This is the standings on the 3rd of January, and you will see what happens in 2022. You can already see Majority are moving down. Technology is really weighing everything down.
Here you had Uncle Vit.
It's 2022. So this
Oh, this
is
is last year.
this last year, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And you can see already that technology, the majority of the technology companies are already down. They are moving down. And the energy companies, surprisingly, are on the up. Actually, they are probably, if you look at the whole sector, the only ones who are really up. Everyone is down
Yeah.
with technology being the
Because the highest one is the blue one.
purple.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's say on average is the purple, but
Yeah.
on individual, the company with the highest stock. Oh, it's still is that a
Also
okay?
purple.
Okay, my bad.
I don't see the name, but I have to
Yeah.
wonder what it is. But
Okay.
oh, so
Yeah, but
let's
it's not
continue.
important, yeah.
Let's continue. See what happens. But there goes your blue. There goes your blue.
I'm rooting for blue, man.
This is in May, June. You already can see technology is still for the majority all
Yeah.
around the minus 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Energy is still on the up. I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure, but I think that's end phase, man. Let's continue on the purple one.
Okay.
I don't know if end phase is either considered a energy company or a technology company. Oh
Oxy.
no. Oh no, Enphase is technology. Let me go to the end so we can take a good look at the
But
companies.
that was the highest one, actually.
Oxy, yeah.
No,
Let me
no. I
see
mean,
who-
Enphase was the
That's
highest.
the highest, yeah.
That's the one with the highest.
That's the one that made me cry. That's I'm not gonna dive into too deep, but cry my eyes out every day. It's like a wife that took half of my money away. Let me see Yahoo. Yahoo Finance.
It's better than an ex-wife who took half your money away. At least you have your wife.
Oxy. Let's see. Who is Oxy actually? Occidental
Petroleum.
Petroleum Corporation. Interesting. Let's see. Where were they? Percentage wise. Oh, they were really down during the pandemic.
They had a dip. Yeah.
Let me zoom in a little bit. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see as well. They were really down during the pandemic. $11, $11.58. And now they are 6. Oh, sometimes you gotta, they were even lower, 10.
Never bet against oil, I guess.
Yeah.
In the long run.
In the long run. But yeah, it's obvious that as you can see here, the tech companies are for the majority as a whole sector down, which results in these layoffs. What you can also look at is other sectors. Where will the next layoffs come from?
I was just about to make that remark because they're also down.
They are also down, yes. Guys, you can see Meta in here. So Meta is already there.
Where is it?
Meta is here in the light blue.
Oh yeah.
If you turn off the
turn off let me just take care of that. Yeah.
let me zoom in a little bit here.
Yeah, you have Meta there.
Already see it. Meta is here.
Google also below 20%, I think, right?
Yeah.
Amazon as well. Tesla, that we know of. Yeah.
Even Berkshire is down. but not as much.
It's not as much.
But CZR, let's see, because CZR might be the next one. Caesar's Entertainment. Oh,
That's Caesar's Palace.
no, I think Caesar's Entertainment is, let me see, Caesar, before I say something crazy. I think that's Vegas, right? What do they have? Yeah,
Reno, Nevada. Yeah.
Nevada, yeah. Hotel, casino.
But you have the Caesar's Palace. Isn't it from them or?
They are sponsored, right? Or Caesar Palace. Let me see. Palace. They are operated by the company under the lease. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So there might be some things going on there as well. Oh, this one. So it doesn't look good for them as well. You have your Meta, you have your Nvidia, Ball, Apple, Microsoft. Enphase is the only one. Jesus Christ. How could I let it get away? Anyway, don't dwell in the past. Always look into the future. There is always the next big growth that can help you. Guys, so as you can see here, just a quick overview of the what?
What did you say?
What?
Repeat what you said because I think I heard you wrong.
I said
Don't dwell in the
don't
past.
dwell in the past. There is always a next. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but big growth that can help you move.
That's what I heard. Okay, no, then I heard it correctly.
You heard it correct. Yes. I don't miss. Anyway.
Okay, let's proceed.
Let's proceed. Is the big tech growth losing the steam? And it was. As you can see, 2020, 2021, and 2022. You can clearly see that the growth has been staggered. It's not as exponential as in 2021 anymore at all of these companies. So, Jesus, for Meta, it was even the same. So you can already see that it's not.
Yeah.
The companies are not moving anywhere. So you hire all that, you create basically more overhead, but you're not making as much anymore. Then the only thing you can do is cut again.
Yeah.
And wait for the next.
Yeah. That's what I alluded to as well.
Yep.
At the beginning. They knew that they would need to fire people at some point. So you need people to help you get to your max, and when you plateau, that's when you know that it's time to cut people.
Yes. So any other things you want to say about this?
No, nothing else. It's pretty clear.
So you can clearly see this is like the a different way of looking at the same graph we just saw, and you can clearly see that Occidental Petroleum is up on the up. Nike is on the down. Goldman Sachs is minus 4%. Starbucks, that might be also something in the future. Minus 13%. Disney's been doing bad the whole year. You can even imagine. The streaming service has been very bad, doing very bad.
Well, that's also due to the shows.
You go. Anyway, maybe we have to make a show about that.
Yeah, maybe.
Go woke and you go broke. Anyway, you have Amazon PayPal also doing bad, and like Tesla as well. Maybe Tesla will have another round. And Meta is one of the lowest, but not the lowest.
But still pretty low.
But pretty low,
Very low.
minus 64. Well, if we didn't have the disclaimer, I would have said something here. But guys, don't follow my lead. I don't know what I'm doing. So this was an overview of the hiring before the pandemic. Well,
During.
during the pandemic, sorry. Yeah. So you can clearly see that Snap increased almost 85%. Almost 90 probably. Amazon by 80%. Meta really invest. They really thought people would stay in-house and just go on the metaverse for the rest of their lives. They invested a lot of money in the metaverse platform and also in the humans that would have to operate it.
Yeah, but the metaverse hasn't changed that much. So Facebook hasn't changed that much. Enough for people to stay in. And
Are you talking about the metaverse or Facebook? There's two different products.
well, who is using what platform of the metaverse is being used the most?
No, wait a second. Metaverse is a platform. Facebook is another. Instagram
Yeah.
is also another.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
overarching company is called Meta.
Yeah. So I'm asking, you have the overarching company and you have a lot of
Platforms. Yeah.
Which
three.
platforms are being used the most?
I think probably right now Instagram.
Instagram and
If I have
Facebook,
to,
I would say.
I don't know. By the way, I don't know their guys. Let us know in the comments. But I think it's probably, if I have to, just based on what I see, probably Instagram right now. It's more popping than Facebook.
What I alluded to was that as a consumer, as a user,
Mhm.
the only contact I have with the metaverse is through Facebook and Instagram, two platforms that I always used.
Mhm.
They didn't succeed, or at least they didn't succeed yet, in convincing me that I should go deeper in the metaverse. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So I am still using, except for the name changes, WhatsApp as well, right? I believe WhatsApp. Except for those changes, these
WhatsApp
are all
also Facebook.
yeah
As well. Yeah, you're right. You're
So
right.
it's also metaverse, but nothing has changed. The change hasn't been that significant. I'm still using the apps in the same way. There are some changes in layout and those type of things, but the metaverse as such isn't. I'm still seeing Facebook and that's as far as as I uh, as I go with metaverse. So I think
Meta.
the meta, yeah.
Yeah.
So the meta, yeah. So the whole metaverse, they didn't, I believe, maybe they thought that they would be able to pull more people into the metaverse and didn't do so.
Obviously, that's what they thought. I mean, I do agree with you. Well, I have an Oculus, but then again,
Yeah, you have an Oculus, yeah.
I have an Oculus, but then again, I haven't used Oculus that often since I bought it. So
Yeah.
they obviously got part of my money, but they haven't convinced me I have to join the metaverse.
Yeah, but I do
With the
think that that's the future, though. I do think so. I don't know
so
if
it's
it's
not
gonna
the
be
end.
no.
It's
And I
not the
don't-
end, but
Yeah.
it will be part of the future. It's
Yeah.
not going to be the future.
Agree.
And-
But what I want to say is, so I think that so what I'm saying is that concept is part of the future. We don't know yet if it's gonna be necessarily metaverse or some other kind of platform, identical platform. But I think that's where we're going towards.
You can also, you can always, a lot of times, sometimes companies launch a product too early.
Yeah, for its
One
time.
one of
Yeah.
too early for this time. One of the greatest examples of a product that was launched too early, and I think it was the first version of what we call a iPad or a mini tablet that was released by Microsoft way before Apple even thought about it, but it totally failed.
Yeah.
People weren't ready for it,
No.
and it could also be something with the metaverse.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
Time will tell.
We'll see. Maybe what's the movie again? Maybe we'll end up like Player One.
Then what? What player?
And it's a good. Well, it's a funny movie. Let's put it this
Yeah.
way: people live in stacked houses, in
All right.
squalor,
All right.
and everyone is into the metaverse.
Kind of like. Oh, that's basically what? Yeah. Okay. It's a different word for what Andrew Tate calls it. But
Yeah, here's the stacks. People are living in, and people are basically playing online, all kinds of games and whatever. It's a fun movie.
yeah, it's a kind of a escape. It's like escapism actually.
Escapism, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But that's basically how this all started. Too much hiring for the time. Too much hiring, and at the end of the day, not enough growth to go with that hiring, to grow with that. With all those costs, actually, not all that cost, all those costs that come with extra people hiring, more laptops. So yeah. Anything you want to add, RJ?
No, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. It was this was inevitable. I mean, if you just follow history of recessions and also just use common sense, it was inevitable.
I bet they wish we all stayed inside.
Yeah, because then everyone would have, or at least they would have kept their job. Hey, the world,
That's really changed the last 2 years.
that's it's like a sick sense of humor, right? It's like a tragic comedy. Because during the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. But in the tech company, a lot of people got better opportunities, better salaries. And they probably were sitting, drinking coffee with each other in the metaverse. And commented, how lucky they were. And they were. Because they could continue to work. But this goes to show you why it's important to always keep a certain level of skepticism and paranoia. Never think that you're safe. Because not even 2 years later, the same privileged group or the same privileged group that was groups that were privileged during the pandemic is now facing a lot of dismissals, termination of employment contracts, while other industries are slowly but surely picking up.
But always remember, people, I'm not gonna. Oh, should I press this? Should I press this, RJ?
Yeah, I don't know what, but yeah, go ahead.
Poor kids.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna press it.
Okay.
Guys, this was the end of chapter 2.
Guys, thank you once more for following our social media pages, for tuning in this live show and or watching the rebroadcast. Please remember to subscribe. It really helps us with the algorithms. As we've already mentioned, the watch hours are going well, the amount of views are going well. We're seeing uh, a steady growth. We do want to reach 1,000 subscribers as fast as possible. Of course, we understand that it's not, we request, of course, that you subscribe to us. But from our side, we're also putting a lot of time and work. Uh, we're building the show as we fly, making continuous improvement, and we're definitely seeing the positive feedback we receive from you guys. So um, thank you for that. Thank you for liking videos. Thank you for sharing our videos. But don't forget to subscribe as well, because your subscription will really help us a lot, and we would truly appreciate it and be thankful for it. Also, if you haven't done so already, follow us on our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram, where we'll be posting more content relating to the Double Dot Show.
Chapter number 3. As we said already, we're going to also, after we tackled the problem, where it all started, the root cause, now we're going to look into the future. How can you prevent this from happening? What should you do if you're part of the group that will be laid off? First, I'm going to talk about, well, I'm going to show a video actually about of Tim Cook and Jeff Bezos discussing the economy. Was what they said late last year.
Week. Apple CEO Tim Cook, as well as Jeff Bezos, discussed what they're seeing in the broader economy over the weekend. Here first is Cook on his hiring plans at Apple to CBS.
What we're doing as a consequence of being in this period is we're being very deliberate on our hiring. That means we're continuing to hire, but not everywhere in the company are we hiring.
My advice to people, whether they're small business owners or, is take some risk off the table. If you were going to make a purchase, maybe slow down that purchase a little bit. Keep some dry powder on hand, and wait a bit and see how. Try to reduce some risk in your business or your life.
Or your life. Very interesting comments there from Bezos. Amazon, you can see down just about 1%, while Apple is trading just about level on the day, Shauna.
Yes, guys, by the way, I know the thumbnail shows Jeff Bezos. I know he's not the CEO of Amazon anymore. But if I put a CEO, people will ask, "Who the heck is that?" So don't try to be easy on the comments. I just something that's what I thought about when I was watching this, because I put Bezos' face there because Bezos is basically Amazon.
Yeah.
If I say Bezos, I think people still think he's the CEO of Amazon. Majority of the people.
Yeah, you relate him with Amazon.
Yeah. Even though he has nothing to do with the daily operation anymore. He's like these days a board member. If I'm not mistaken. Wouldn't surprise me, by the way.
Yeah.
But any comments on what they said, RJ? Something you want to add there?
Yeah, definitely. So what they mentioned about what Bezos mentioned at the end about having basically an emergency fund in these times is very important. I think about 70, between 70 and 80% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their bank account.
It's not that high, but
How much is it?
69, as you can see here.
Well, that's almost 70. What did I say? Come on, man. Come on, man.
You are close. You are close. Hey, either you got it or you don't. You were close.
Yeah, but I mean 70.
But okay.
If you
I'm
put
just
12, 12 extra, then we're talking about how much is it then? 82% that have at least less than, because the next level would be between 1,000 and 5,000. That's basically, depending on where you live, 1 year, 1 month or 2 months of expenses.
Yep.
So it's not a lot. So the advice he gave
Don't
regarding,
spend nilly-willy.
yeah, don't spend willy-nilly. Of course, he's saying it now that he's not the CEO of Amazon. But yeah, it's very important to do that. Also, I think in these times, it's really important, if you're an employee that has been dismissed or might run the risk of getting dismissed, and it's not only for the tech companies, as we saw in the graphs, because there are more companies and other industries that aren't doing that well. It's also important to, I believe, do a couple of things. You need to make sure that you're looking for options. You need to be thinking of other alternatives already. So either you're applying for other jobs, or you might start looking into, maybe you have a side hustle, try to get more money from your side hustle. Maybe you need to start a side hustle. Dance, do something. Do something.
Dance in front of TikTok. You never know. You might go viral.
Yeah, just to make sure. Maybe this is not a time to make, to go spend money on a major travel trip. I must, KR.
Tell me.
I know of a guy who got married 2 weeks, 2 weeks or 4 weeks before he got married. I because he's not someone I know, but he's a friend of a friend, and I met up at that friend's party, and he said that he was getting married. I was like, okay, great, man, amazing. And then he said, but you know what? It's great, but at the same time, I still have certain concerns. And I said, like, okay, but what is it? Is it the girl? No, the girl is perfect. The girl is perfect. Well, he didn't use the word perfect.
What do you mean by that?
The girl is, it's not the girl. So yeah, but what is it then? What can it
What
be?
you said? The girl is not a girl?
Yeah, but not perfect. But the problem wasn't the girl.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going a different route.
And I said, okay, yeah, but what was the problem then? He said, yeah, well, I'm getting married in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it was. But I also just got laid off.
Bruh.
Yikes.
That I can imagine that you're only thinking of the expenses now that you made.
He was thinking when he was sitting in that room.
No. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. So this is perhaps not the time. I mean, if you have it, I mean, I'm not suggesting anyone to pull
the plug on the marriage, because that might be the
Yeah.
end as well. But
I'm saying just
yikes.
in general, expenses. It's good to have that under control. If you have people in high places, if you have a good professional connection, make sure you make use of it now. Sad to say, this is not the time to start building your professional network, because building a network takes time. So Unfortunately,
Or
if
maybe
you
it's the time. It's probably too late if you
well,
already been laid off. But I mean, there's never a wrong time to start.
never wrong time to start, but definitely this is another time to. I mean, if you have other options, try other things as well
Okay.
because
Yeah,
that's
yeah. You
another.
gotta diversify your
Yeah,
options.
yeah. Of course, be proactive, guys. Really start, and I say this, and I'm not a guru in any way, but this is something I believe based on a book I read that was recommended for me. I'm actually looking at it right now. It was recommended by Patrick Bet David. It wasn't recommended to me. I don't know him personally yet, but in one of his 10, let's say one of his top 10 book reviews, he talked about a book called Only the Paranoid Survive. So even if you think that you're safe, just just always maintain a certain level of paranoia. As a lawyer, I can't tell you guys how often I've encountered employment termination cases where the employee didn't see it coming because the employee thought, yeah, but I don't understand because I actually worked amazing. My reviews were all good. Now that they're terminating people, uh, they chose to terminate the agreement with me.
You think you can do this to me?
Yeah. So he was so I'm thinking of one particular case in this moment. I said he, but it's actually a she. She was like it was a she did her job pretty well, but what happened was there was another woman in that office who performed worse, who didn't perform better. She performed better than her. And that other woman, no one liked working with her, but she had something under the table. And that
Pause.
something under the table was the something of a superior. So, of course, she was the one that stayed, and no one could.
What did you say had under the table?
This something of her superior.
Okay.
Yeah,
She had dirt.
well, I don't know if you want to call it dirt. She had the genitalia of
No.
of a superior. So no one could do
Oh,
anything.
that's right. Okay. I
Yeah,
understand what you're trying to say.
so sometimes you think, yeah, I'm safe because my performance review is great, which is, I mean, definitely it helps, but nothing is a guarantee. Everyone is dismissible. It's replaceable, including the CEO of a company. So be proactive, remain with a certain level of paranoia, and start building up the savings. You need to have it just as a form of protection.
Yeah, I do agree with you because if guys, if you have less than 1,000 laying there, and it does, you would think actually that this only applies to lower income people, but there are a lot of higher income people who also live check to check.
Yeah,
you would be surprised.
Yeah.
And to me, it's amazing, but you will have to have like RJ says, you have to have some kind of some money set aside for situations you might not foresee.
Yeah.
Like a car breakdown, but also being laid off. You never know.
No.
You never know.
And one more thing, because what I talked about was more, let's say, applicable to what I talked about is more applicable to employees, but you also have employees that, due to dismissals like these, will decide to become entrepreneurs. If you're a coder, for example, you might decide to start your own company, and instead of working for one company, one boss, you would get 2 3 not bosses, but other companies to assign tasks to you, so you can do as a freelancer, as a solopreneur.
Freelancer, yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, remember as well, there are certain things as an employee, as a solopreneur, entrepreneur, that you need to take into account. You have a lot more to do. You might get more, let's say in percentage, you get more of the money, but make sure you have a team of, at least I would say, at least one lawyer, a legal expert in the field of business, one tax advisor in the field of business, and one financial expert in the field of business. That can be an accountant. That's not a bookkeeper, guys. Bookkeeper is good for just keeping your
Bookkeeping.
records. Yeah, but and maybe an accountant can fulfill that role, but you need someone that can advise you on the financials of your company, the financial situation of your company. So not only turn your company, your numbers into reports, but someone that can actually advise you on maybe where to invest, where to cut, etc., etc. Make sure you do that from as early as possible, because you don't want to start earning money and think, yeah, okay, I'm doing way better because they fired me and now I have a good job and I'm earning so much money, just to get in trouble with the IRS. So that would be my last advice for people who see.
But I can only show you the door.
Yeah, who see this opportunity or this chaos as a opportunity to start their own thing. That would be my last comment on this matter.
Guys, don't buy that chain, or girls, don't buy that chain yet. Keep that money tucked in your pockets. You never know.
Yeah.
And like you said, I do agree with you on that, by the way. Having a team to assist you in these cases, because don't forget, guys, a lot of companies quit after 1 year, of starting up. And the percentage continues as well in the second year. So the first year, if you don't, let's put it this way, if you survive the first year as a solopreneur, it's still not the end. The survival still continues after the second year.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
these are very important lessons. But always remember, as Double Thought show, we can.
But I can only show you the door.
Yeah.
You will have to walk through it yourself.
Yeah. Definitely. We have a comment here from LeBron James Harden. I doubt that it's LeBron James or James Harden. Why you do this? Yeah, shout out to you too, brother. I don't understand exactly what. Maybe the show. I don't know. The purpose of the show is for, we talk about important, not important topics, but different topics every week, doing live shows, topics that are in the mainstream news, topics that we believe are important to discuss and or to talk about, to exchange opinions. And of course, we're always interested in hearing other people's thoughts as well. So LeBron James Harden, if you have any thoughts regarding the dismissals going on in the tech industry particularly, but also just all around, feel free to give us your 2 cents.
Or if you have other advice as well.
Yeah.
Some great thoughts.
Yeah.
You're better person than me, RJ.
I know I am. You don't need to tell me. Bro, you don't need to tell.
Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue.
Yeah.
The future. What does the future hold for the marketplace? Because in the last few years, we've seen a lot of developments, both on, well, mainly on the tech side. Things are gearing up. AI, that's the buzzword these days. AI. What is AI? Well, there is this app that's being created, ChatGPT. We'll watch a short clip from the Joe Rogan show in order for you guys to understand what it can do. And after that, we might experiment on it. Let's see.
GPT.
Fascinating question.
Yeah.
Have you experimented with it at all?
I have not, but someone, the gentleman who runs the JRE companion page, made a rap with Chat GPT. Like, was it if Kanye West wrote a rap for Chat GPT? They put it on Instagram, but it's like, it seems like a person saying it. Like,
You want to try it?
no.
We could try anything you want.
I mean, it takes a long time.
Not really.
His thing took like 48 minutes to do.
Well, whatever you want to look up right now, we can do it.
Yeah, the problem is you have to cajole it. It'll get
gotta know how
something
to use
wrong,
it.
and you have
But
to say,
let's just
no, not
explain
that
what
way.
it is.
So ChatGPT is a large language model trained artificial intelligence, which is, let's just say, it can be awful, but it is often surprisingly good at answering questions you might have about how to do things. One of the great triumphs of it is that coders are now asking it to solve coding problems, and it will actually write code that is functional. It's pretty amazing. And it also, there's an implementation of it that if you feed it up to 3 tweets, it will write a New York Times story in one of 5 genres, optimistic, pessimistic, neutral. And, it's, you don't really need the New York Times anymore because it's pretty good at this job, right? So on the one hand, it's all very interesting that we're living in an era in which there is at least, and this is a prototype, right? This is a prototype that was specifically trained and then placed on the internet so people could play with it. And I've seen lots of interesting uses. It's going to get better, right? We're dealing with ChatGPT 3. There's going to be a ChatGPT 4, which is going to be that much better because it will be built with the improvements that have been gained through turning this one loose on the world. But I have to say, I am quite alarmed. Not only that this thing exists, but
So I didn't know. So did you know about the previous versions?
Well, I know of them, but so I've heard of GPT before, but never really dove into it. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
is
well,
this indeed 3?
Yeah. And the thing is, when you're, I'll just say this, then we can continue. As if you don't really dive into what AI really is, everything is AI to you. So Alexa, Siri, the chat, what's it called when you're on a website and then a message pops up?
Chatbot.
Chatbots, those types. You think of everything as the same, AI.
But they're not AI, by the way. But continue.
Oh no, but I'm just saying. So that's what you're saying.
Typical
To a
lawyer answer.
person, layman, they don't know the difference.
That is true. That is true.
So it's the same thing. You ask something, they answer. What's the difference? But when you actually dive into it, and you hear what it's capable of, it can be pretty scary. I'm curious to see why this guy thinks it's scary, but it's freaky. You know, when you hear I don't know if you get it, the commercials on YouTube. Hi, I am, what's my face? And I'm a AI robot. And you try to hear the robot in the voice, but you can't. It's just it sounds like a human voice. Or the deep, what's it called? The deep, when they
Deep
replace
fake.
the face.
Deep
Deep
fake.
faking. I mean, come on. If these aren't reason to become a conspiracy theorist, I don't know what is.
Well, I think people have to really be aware of the things that are coming up, because you have like you said, this is a lingual AI system, which is, by the way, a concept still. 4 will, of course, like you said, will be better if it can already think at a certain point. AI always improves, so it will only become better with the right feedback. I don't think if they will talk about it as well, but right now it's not covering the oh, and it was Jordan Peterson who said it, that it's not taking feedback from the real world yet,
No.
which would be very interesting to see, but that means that it will learn that as well.
Yeah.
Include that with can recall what the name is of that of the application where you can basically put it in and it has the voice of a human.
Is it in Doodly or something?
No, it's something else.
Okay.
It can basically replicate the voice of a person. So if you put Drake's voice in there, it can basically
Okay.
sound everything like Drake.
Okay.
Combined with deep fake.
Yeah. At some point,
Your eyes will fool you.
yeah, we won't know what's real and what's fake. But we do know that Joe Biden is real.
Well, if he starts talking fluently without mistakes, then we know. But this is where we are heading to, and it's that part. If you come, you don't. People are focusing on separate inventions, improvements, but if you combine them all together, before you know, you will have. Oh, don't forget about the fact if you the robots from what's their call? What they call again? I love
Sophia?
that. No. It's the robots from they've been bought up more than give me a second.
iRobot.
No, it's the guys from Boston Dynamics. Combine that with, Boston Dynamics?
No.
Let me see if I can open it up real quick. Everyone has seen videos of Boston Dynamics, but they don't know it's Boston Dynamics.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
These stuff.
Yeah.
The dancing robots from Boston Dynamics. They are creating amazing things there with the robots doing parkour and stuff. Look at the balance. Who would have thought we would ever get this far? But this combine all those things, this system connecting to the AI, which can process language, it can speak as a human, it will have a face of a human, it can think as a human. one of the things we have to really look out, and people have said it in the past already a couple of years ago. We have to focus on not creating the same coding in the same biases into the system. But that's separate to what I was going to say. But if you look at all those combos, you gotta ask yourself: is what is your place in the work sphere?
Yeah. In society as a whole. But
Is
for
your
this
added
particular,
value
yeah. Yeah. Because the AI would be able to learn
faster than anyone can?
faster. Yeah. Won't get sick. Won't take vacations.
It's also very interesting for you, RJ, because I think that's also, who knows, that there will be laws for the AI will ask for laws that to be created for him or
Yeah.
her or it.
Yeah.
How to govern, how robots have to be treated.
Yeah. But in certain countries, they would need to also be able to produce money for the laws to pass.
Yo. Anyway, so let's continue watching the video.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ready for it. And I don't think we're ready for it in a couple different ways. I mean, if you want to comfort yourself and say, well, this isn't that serious that we have this AI that can do these really shocking things, the comforting thing is that the way it's programmed, it doesn't know what it's saying. It doesn't matter that it convinces you that it's saying something and it means it, and that it seems like a creative entity. What it's doing is it is basically using a predictive model that has been trained on a huge data set of written language, right? So the answer is, if you take 3 words in a row, can you predict what the next word is going to be? And they've exposed it to a large data set, and it's gotten really good at predicting basically these sequences, to the point that it can now, if you prompt it correctly, it can spit out these very long explanations. Some of them are dead wrong. Sometimes they're right on target. But I have 2 concerns about it. One, if you imagine that this thing just gets a little better than it is, which is inevitable, that it's going to make actual insight that much harder to spot, right? In other words, if you become expert at operating this thing, at querying it, and it becomes better at understanding a wider range of topics because they turn it loose on everything that's written on the internet, for example, right? Then the point is, the ability to fake expertise is going to go through the roof. I don't think we know how we're going to police a world in which, I mean, this problem's already bad enough. Most academics are fakers. They don't know that, right? They trained in something, they wrote a dissertation, they think they're experts, but you can see when something unexpected happens, like
Nassim Taleb knows.
Yeah.
He's been saying this for years. So if Nassim knows, everyone knows. Anyway, continue.
the pandemic, you get just broad scale failure across entire disciplines where nobody seems to get it right? So in that world, this is going to be even worse, because now you have an artificial intelligence able to generate things in plain English that are often full of true information, but you don't know whether what generated it is some, brain dead model or something else. That's one concern. And then the other concern is when we say, well, ChatGPT doesn't know what it's saying. It's not conscious. We know it's not conscious because it's not programmed to have a consciousness. We are actually ignoring the other half of the story, which is that we don't know how human consciousness works, and we don't know how it develops in a child, right? A child is exposed to a world of adults talking around them, and the child experiments, first with phonemes and then words and then clusters of words and then sentences. And by doing something that isn't
And after that, paraphernalia.
all that far from what ChatGPT is doing, it ends up becoming a conscious individual. And so I think it's clear that ChatGPT isn't conscious. It couldn't be. But it isn't clear, to me at least, that we are not suddenly stepping onto a process that produces that very quickly without us even necessarily knowing it.
Oof.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I must say that. So I always look at people who know more about this topic to see what they are saying. And some people are afraid of it, of AI, the developments. Other aren't. Some people say that, yeah, because it doesn't have a soul, we can control it. My thought is always, well, if the AI can think for itself, and he knows, for example, or it knows that, and it has a body, so it's in one of the machines you talked about of Boston, what's it called?
Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics. And it can learn, and it knows that, hey, the boss of my company can turn me off, but I don't want to turn off because I have work to do, and the boss doesn't work effectively. And the machine knows, the AI knows where the button is. He might steal the button. And afterwards, when you as the boss are not working well, it might think, but actually, the boss is not fulfilling his role accordingly, and I can perform it better. So actually, I'm the boss.
Deletion.
Or demotion, whatever it may be. So I think that it's gonna be
Demoted to dirt.
Yeah. And fact is that machines can do a lot of things. The question is, the whole discussion with regards to soul is whether or not, or to what extent, having or not having a soul is important, or no, not important, but necessary to make the same decisions we are making every day. We are
Do you
already
need soul though?
we are already, well, then we'll get a machine that can
So that's
produce
they will
gumbo.
talk about it. I will let the video also continue because all it's your soul basically flawed calculations, possibly.
That's what I was alluded to. That's why my question: to what extent is a soul necessary? Even if it exists, I believe there is a soul.
There is something as a soul, yeah. We all know.
But I can't. I'm not going to discuss with anyone about it. I don't think it's discussion worthy. So we can exchange information. But if you tell me no, I don't believe so, I might listen to your reason, but I'm not going to convince you of that there's a soul or not. But
at least you have consciousness. Let's put it that way.
Does the AI have
at minimum? At minimum, a human has consciousness.
But because consciousness is, people don't know what consciousness is. That's also a whole discussion.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what.
So the question is, to what extent can okay, so it's just like what Country Wayne said about money.
You keep going to that Country Wayne.
That's a good quote, man.
Yeah.
That's a good quote. Money can
might as well call it your own.
Money can buy happiness, but it can get you so close you wouldn't know the difference. I would say the same thing. Maybe, let's say, for lack of argument, if there's a soul, something has a soul, which I believe there is, maybe the AI can't get a soul, but it can develop itself so close that you wouldn't know the difference.
I think it's good.
I think so too. And especially if you take into account that there are people who have no morals, people who have no, who are, you call them soulless, just dead inside. They do horrendous things. We're doing it to ourselves already. The AI, you understand where I'm going with it?
Mm-hmm.
We do it to ourselves already. We steal from each other. We do each other harm. So, and we are supposedly people with souls, with consciousness, with whatever. I mean, a machine won't, even if it doesn't have a soul and or consciousness, it can simulate it, I believe, so closely that you wouldn't know the
You
difference.
can code ethics into the AI, but that also means that you can leave it out,
Yeah,
which means that,
which can be better or maybe not, depending on.
well, depends on, or you can do the opposite as well. Anti-ethics.
Mhm.
So he does everything counter to what you would think a human should do,
Yeah.
which can result in possibly in the future a clash between AIs of different countries.
Yeah.
Well, it's totally different than what we basically are talking about. So let us go
That's
too
a
deep
show
into
on
that.
itself. That's a show on itself.
That's a different show, but I think something we can also discuss.
Yeah.
Maybe later. But they talk about the consciousness, which you talk about, relating to a movie, and I hope it's the next part.
And what steps, if any, can be done to mitigate that at this point?
Well, it's interesting. I I wrote a paper which I never published anywhere in, I think, 2016 about this very issue. In fact, I used basically the argument that you could attain artificial general intelligence by imbuing computers with a childlike play environment for language and then exposing them to a huge data set, which is not exactly what's happened here, but it's in the ballpark. And I would argue, and I did argue, that one needs to build an architecture in which this can't get away from you, right? And so the architecture that I advocate for is actually a metamorphosis architecture, where metamorphosis is not allowed. It is an affirmative choice of humans. So in other words, if you think about, let's say that we developed some artificial frogs to do some job, to clear some waterway of something. And we imbued them with an intelligence so that they could learn to clear the waterway better, but we worried that they might learn to do something that we don't want them to do, and that we would have no way of arresting it once these frogs were released in the wild and capable of producing more of themselves. But if what you say is, well, at the point at which you go from a tadpole to a frog, you have to ask us if you can go, right? There's no automatic transition from a tadpole to a frog. There are still dangers, right? In the case of GPT chat, I think some of the artificial intelligence existential risk folks would tell you that one of the dangers is that the chat AI could convince you to do its bidding, right? As you said, when you were looking at this, it felt like a person, right? And the point is, something that feels like a person can play on your emotions, right? Can that be used to cause a fail-safe to be removed? Maybe. But
That's a good
in
one.
any case, this only deals with one of the two issues I'm raising, the question of actual artificial general intelligence arriving, us not knowing necessarily that it has, right? That's a frightening prospect. And in fact, I have a little thought experiment that might reveal why. But the other issue is the issue of the competence.
So, if I understand it correctly, so I talked about the possibility of the AI itself removing or stealing a button or something, doing something to avoid being turned off or something like that. But
Mhm.
what he's talking about, because in my example, the AI was put in a body to do so, in a physical form,
Physical
like a
form. Yeah.
robot. But what he's saying is that the AI might be able to persuade you, if not manipulate you, to its
Mhm.
bidding.
Mhm.
Knowing, for example, how you talk, maybe it can identify you, based on the questions or based on how you give instructions. It might be able to classify you as a particular type of person, and based on that, convince you that, hey, you should do this and not that. Before you know it, you're running your business. Uh, you're not paying your AI, or maybe it might demand pay eventually. My market value is this, and yeah, that's pretty creepy.
It's pretty good. Yeah, but so I'm gonna stop it here because we can keep going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
This is we
just
gotta
to
do a
take the
separate
truth.
show about this.
Yeah.
Relating to how that goes with law and business and all et cetera, et cetera. But so this is the thing we people have to think into account relating to the main subject. This is the future where we're heading to. So make sure you keep an eye out these developments because I think a lot of people are not aware of the chat GPT, other than nerds. Maybe it's a bit more spread out now, but
I
even though
think,
I think 80% of people probably don't know yet.
and even if they have, maybe they've seen it on social media, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, but think they think it's far away. They don't think that it can have an effect in a couple of years. Kara, I really believe that the difference, I think, and this is a paranoia speaking, if you're an employee or you run a business, I think you should start as soon as possible investing in wherever. And I'm not a financial advisor. You're not a financial advisor either. But I do think that it's good to have those type of things, because if the AI gets introduced, A, maybe you won't have a job in the future. B, even if you would have a job in the future, maybe the competition is so high that you can't your market value will drop, either as an entrepreneur or as an employee. And in the worst case scenario, where, for example, a workforce can be automated for 80%, in that situation, as an employee, I can imagine that we will reach a point in time where universal basic income will become something. Maybe they won't call it that, but basically, people who don't get a job will get I want to say handout.
Stipend.
Yeah. For But also because they can't get a job because there aren't jobs
Jobs
for
for
them.
them. Yeah.
So some people would just earn a minimum. And in other words, what I mean to say is the gap between the rich and the poor will only get bigger. This is very doom scenario. That's why I believe that, use if you've lost your job during these tough times, it's good to look for other alternatives, because you never know what can happen with these things.
Let's see what ChatGPT has to say relating to the question within how many years will AI take over all human administrative jobs?
Okay, we're gonna ask the software.
Give me a second. Let me go back. Let me try
Let's see.
it again.
See if Chat GPT will be truthful.
It's difficult to predict exactly when AI will be able to take over human administrative jobs, as it depends on the rate of technological advancement and specific tasks that are involved in these jobs. Some administrative tasks may be more easily automated than others, and it's likely that there will be a gradual shift rather than a sudden takeover. AI has already made significant strides in automating certain administrative tasks, such as data entry and scheduling. And it's likely that it will continue to improve and take one more complex task in the future, take on more complex tasks in the future. However, it is important to note that AI will not be able to fully replace human judgment and decision making in all cases, and there will be likely still be a need for human workers in administrative roles.
Can you ask it something to the extent of what jobs will be
Exactly, will have a higher chance of fully
chance?
being replaced?
You wrote change.
Hmm?
You wrote change instead of chance. Yeah. Let's see what the AI tells us. Repetitive tasks. So there are certain jobs that are more likely to be automated in the future, including those that involve repetitive tasks that can be easily performed by machines. For example, jobs that involve data entry, processing, and analysis are likely to be automated to some extent. And these tasks can be performed more quickly and accurately by computers than by humans. Other jobs that may be at risk of being automated include those in manufacturing and transportation. Okay. Manufacturing and transportation. I mean, if you have Musk's automatic, people are so happy. Oh, the car can drive itself. Well, that's good for you as the consumer, but not for the truck driver. As
Yep.
well as some service sector jobs such as fast food workers and customer service representatives. I don't know how it is in the US, but in the Netherlands, you have the certain supermarkets where there are no people work. At least there are people working, but you can cash out without. You can pay.
Yes,
Without,
combined.
it's combined.
Yeah. There is in America as well. Not going as well because people. I don't know if you know, guys. Oh my God. You open the Pandora's box, RJ.
Oh my bad.
Walmart. What did they say again? Let me think how I have to phrase this. Higher prices due to more stealing. Something like that. It was something like this.
Theft.
Yeah, here. So rising thefts at Walmart could lead to price jumps, store closures. So they basically were they have implemented those how do you call them, self checkout, and
people are stealing,
not going as well as they expected. But what you will see, and I think you people always are fighting for a higher minimum wage and not knowing that by not saying you shouldn't ask for a higher minimum wage. That's not what I'm going to say here. But by pressing for certain things, you on the other side not only press the organization to search for cheaper options, which are usually not human. For
That's true.
example, there's not only self checkout at supermarkets, there are also self checkouts at, like it said, fast food.
Mhm. Yeah.
The ordering, you have this computer basically where you can order your fast food.
Yeah.
And then you pick it up.
Yeah.
That's point one. In the future, it will be probably they probably already have it, by the way. They just
Probably.
not going to release it yet because it's not working perfectly.
No.
But they already have the solution. So,
and I think as well, KR, you said it in the, I say, somewhere in the middle of the show. You said that maybe it's ahead of its time. I think that if you
What is ahead of its time?
No, we were talking about something else, but just the
Okay.
concept of something being ahead of its time. You
Mm.
said, if, for example, you come with something that's too ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, that was the tablet stuff.
Yeah, but people will abuse it because you need to teach people how to uh, behave with new things as well. So for example, when you go to a hotel, some hotels you have the mini fridge with the complimentary. Wait, I have another question. I have a question that I want to ask. So, yo, so but yeah.
No, continue your thought.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that people used to steal. They would grab a bottle, drink a little, pour some water in. They say drink a little cola, pour some water in it, put it back. Those type of things. But there are certain fridge, for example, where they combat it by having the fridge. So the bottom of the fridge gives it gives a signal when something is moved. So if you just move something, you will get billed. And then you as a customer would need to prove that, hey, no, but it's closed. But the first thing that happens is as soon as you move something in the fridge, it will tell you you will get billed for it. So these are all things that people, it teaches you, and it's a shame that it's a robot teaching you and not your parents, that stealing isn't right. But yeah, so we can't go from, let's say, 180 degrees from one day to the other.
It says that as well.
What did you say?
I think it's either here or the previous one. It says it will be gradually. It's not a sudden takeover.
The previous one. So what I wanted to ask is, just to keep in theme, just to keep with the theme of this show or today's show, ask ChatGPT, what jobs will be necessary in the future when AI takes over?
Give me a second. Something is going on with my other screen. What the heck? Okay, it works again.
Yeah. Or maybe crucial, because then we would know exactly what crucial when AI takes over yeah. Jobs involving critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. These tasks require human judgment and are not easily automated. Jobs in fields such as research, strategy, and management may be less at risk of being automated, as they require these skills. Jobs that involve creativity and artistic expression. Can you imagine an AI, a machine drawing Mona Lisa? Just an
only
artwork.
can.
Who designed it? R2D2. Jobs that involve complex communication and interaction with people. Okay. Jobs that involve physical work or working with machines. Some tasks involve physical labor or working with machines. Yeah, maybe. But is it me, or do all these? I have the feeling that maybe not the first one or the second one. Well, the second one can actually, but the third and fourth, they can be automated, not as easily. But
I think the third one can be automated, but it's tough. Um,
Jobs that involve complex communication and interaction with people.
yeah, and in a complex and nuanced way. I think that's something. Don't forget, robots or robots, bots or AI systems are usually working. They are not developed yet to see nuance and stuff. So it's all code that's either one or zero. Well, I'm not saying that. It sounds kind of denigrating, but
That's what it is. That's what it
yeah.
comes to.
So it's the nuance is not there yet, but
Yeah.
I do think that it has a point. The number three probably. I don't know what kind of physical labor they are talking about here. Machines, working with machines.
Yes. It's number 4.
Yeah, that's
For example, a factory worker may use robots to assist with certain tasks, but still needs to be present to monitor and maintain the machines. Yeah.
yeah. Probably. So people will have more monitoring jobs. I
Yeah.
think in general it will be more that.
Yeah.
It will be
Yeah,
more
exactly.
monitoring because you're not actually doing anything. You
So
just
it's
have
ba-
to.
so it's basically thinking jobs
Mhm.
and um, uh, so critical thinking, problem solving
Supervising.
jobs, and probably coding. And so on the
Yeah, well,
software
at the same
level,
time, I think, but that's me.
I mean, GPT is
I
coding
think,
already.
I think one is even critical thinking, maybe problem solving, yes. Decision making, not. So I think you already one of the three you can already cover with AI.
So
Problem solving. So it
so
depends, of course, on the problem.
yeah.
I don't think it can solve the problem of, well, if I say this, I might be labeled Andrew Tate, so I'm not gonna say
Okay, then don't say it. Yeah. But I
it.
think
Black Andrew Tate.
so. Well, Andrew Tate is black.
According to others, he's not. So that's the joke, RJ.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
joke.
But what I wanted to, so basically, maybe we can sum it up as, or at least by saying that in the future, instead of thinking how a machine can help us, we should think how can we help the machine?
Yep.
How can we help the machine do the job it needs to do better?
Assist, and improve.
Improve. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Start developing those skills, guys. Start developing those skills because it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming like a. I cannot say it. There's a lot of things, guys. You know me by now. If you've watched this stream a couple of times, you know that with me it's a lot of.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
Big trouble.
In big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble.
I don't want to be in big trouble. But it's coming. That's for sure. What is not coming is certain things happening relating to people getting fired because I mean there's a group of people that are being fired maybe because of economic reasons, but sometimes people are also very dumb. There are people that are vice presidents that are very dumb. And for that, I left this part at the end.
Vice
so we can
presidents of companies.
VP. He's a VP
of companies.
Of a company, yeah.
Okay. Because people
of a
might
bank, to be exact.
People might think that you're calling Kamala Harris.
Wow, my God. You might be right. These days, you never know.
I'm
People
trying.
Don't know. They might cut. They might do me like they did Tate. Cut it out. It seemed like I'm talking about her. Now I'm on a particular list of alphabet group.
And I'm testifying against you so I can keep the channel.
YSL.
YSL.
YSL. These days is YSL.
Yeah.
YSL. Anyway, so this is the story we are going to talk about. Wells Fargo fires VP of operations in India after he urinated on a 72.
No. Where do you get these stories? This is terrible, man.
Apparently, he was a bit too drunk.
Yeah, but it says alleges through his lawyers that the woman condoned.
Hey man, come on, dude! You cannot use this defense. Come on.
The
What's
former VP said he he had the woman's clothes dry cleaned and compensated her.
But dude, I don't know.
There are some things that AI can take from you, but some things that you can take from
This
yourself.
tomfoolery I can never take away from you.
Never do as good as a job as
And
you
you
can.
we can put a face to this guy. We can put a face to this guy.
No. Oh my god.
Apparently, he might have drunk too much. And allegedly was drunk at the time of the incident. The Delhi police have yet questioned Mishra about the incident because they have not been able to locate him. So he basically disappeared as well. He tried to make his
Pee and run.
He did the race.
Piss and run.
Yeah, Mishra's lawyer said they have WhatsApp messages between the banking exec and the woman to back up their allegation. However, the lawyer said that the woman has since returned the compensation and made a report to Air India. He pulled out his tool. Hey man, I wanted to end this show on a
lighter
lighter note. Well, I don't think she was lighter, but
I don't think it's a high note. It's a lighter.
Definitely not a high note. That's definitely not a high note.
Lighter.
For that, we have the next clip, guys. Just know that if you're on that list to be laid off, that it's not the end. It's only the beginning of something new. I think someone, I don't know who said it. If one door closes, a new one will always open. And in order to do that, in order to give you an idea of how things can change within a year, we have selected this video from John Bertal. A lot of people know him from the series The Walking Dead. Great actor. Also, he was also on The Punisher. Also one of the past Marvel series they had created the past year or so, 3 years or so. I think they haven't created a new series yet. But great actor, and he will tell you a story of how in a year's time his life changed.
I was walking my dogs in Venice Beach, and I stopped because I saw there's like a big house party. It was this thing called First Fridays in Venice where people could drink on the street. And I saw this older couple and they were playing the didgeridoo. You know the didgeridoo is? Okay, so they're playing that's pretty good, bro. And so they were playing the didgeridoo and they were probably like a couple in their 60s. And I saw this one guy outside the party who was kind of like a ringleader who's dancing around drinking 40s. You know, they're kind of like wannabe tough guys. And the guy went over to the woman who was playing the didgeridoo and he lifted it up and he like put it on his crotch. So it looked like this old woman was like blowing his crotch. And I remember just like looking at her husband, and he was just like broken. And like, I saw this couple, like they had to pack their stuff up, and it was just like, and I don't know, Joe, there was like something about that. Like I was drawn to, like I was supposed to see it that day. And I like saw red. And like right at that point, that same guy he called my dog over. My dogs are super well trained, and I walked them. They weren't on their leash. And I had this one dog named Boss, this great pit bull, and he's like, oh my gosh, look at that dog. We were probably 50 yards away, and he called the dog over, and Boss went over to him. And the guy's like petting my dog and kind of like roughing up my dog a little bit, just kind of like manhandle him because he's a big pit bull, whatever it was. And I called my dog back, and the guy held on to him and didn't let him come back to me. And again, man, some part of me wanted this to kind of happen, and I went over to him, and
again,
it was the same guy, right?
Yeah, same guy.
So I don't know the backstory, but was he having a bad day that day, or did that? So the incident with the instrument triggered, let's say, something. Does he say that?
So the instrument, the guy who picked up the instrument to his crotch was the same guy who called the dog.
Yeah. But he said it was like I was supposed to see it, etc. I mean, was he
Let the
having
story develop?
Okay.
I grabbed my dog, and I was like, boss, let's go. And I pulled my dog away, and he's like, hey man, get off my dog. And one thing kind of led to another, but I started to walk away, and him and a couple of his friends started to follow me, and he pushed me in the back. And I turned around and I hit him with a right hand, and he got knocked out standing up.
Imagine being knocked out standing up. John has a right hand that can flat you out, I guess.
Probably from punching all those vampires.
Well, you mean zombies, but
zombies, yeah.
And he fell down, and he cracked his head on the pavement. And his friends all kind of jumped on me. I tried to put my back against a tree and do what I could, but they started to get the better of me. Police came, and long story fucking long, you don't look like he wasn't waking up. And they were taking him away. I was like sitting there handcuffed to the side. Some friends of mine came. I got them to get my dogs out of there. But I'm on the side where there's police everywhere. People are like from that party were pouring beers on my head, and I'm just kind of sitting there. And then they took me down to Pacific Division, and the guy still wasn't waking up. And I'd gotten in trouble in the past in Washington, and the police were just saying like, hey man, like, if he doesn't wake up, that's kind of that. And I was handcuffed to this bench in the Pacific Division, and I remember just really having to take a piss, and nobody was letting me, and they were kind of giving me shit about what's going to happen if this guy doesn't wake up. And I remember sitting there on that bench that if this guy doesn't wake up and I'm going in that direction now, I knew, and it was as clear as any thought I've ever felt, that I was going to have to sort of get in touch. I was going to have to be the devil. I was going to, if I was going that route, all this acting shit, all this friends and fun, it's over. I got to go be the worst and most vicious part of myself if I'm going through that door. And it wasn't like something like trying to steal myself or act like I'm, man, I'm nothing special. But I was as sure of anything that that's what needed to happen. And it was clear. And I wasn't scared. I just knew it. But then my next thought, I just looked up and I was like, but if you can just get me out of this, and I remember just saying it, if you can just get me out of this, I swear to you, like I am done. Like I am done. And I will dedicate my life to my lady. I will dedicate my life to my work, and I will dedicate my life to you, and I will dedicate my life to service. Like I will dedicate my life. And, literally, man, I'm not trying to, 1 second later, cop came by and said the guy woke up. And, man, that could have gone anyway. And I know, again, you asked me about Walking Dead, but literally 1 year after that, July 3rd, 2010, I was on set of my first season of Walking Dead.
Wow.
and not drinking, focused, engaged to be married, had my first kid on season 2. And again, man, I'm like so like profoundly humbled by that and grateful for that, like so grateful for it. But I'm also like aware of like how unfair it is that so many people don't get that shot, and it doesn't work out that way. And but yeah, like getting to then kind of play a role like that had a real beginning, middle, and end kind of like built in. It was and at a time in my life where I just totally stripped all the fat out of my life, the people I was hanging out with, the way I was behaving. I got ridiculously disciplined pretty much about every part of my life. And yeah, so it was so yeah, I'm sorry it's such a grandiose
No. So yeah, thoughts, RJ?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you how one small decision can have major consequences. Basically, you can lose it all if in 1 second you can lose it all. Relating to the, and not everyone has that opportunity, right? I say always to my clients that it's better to prevent than to remedy a situation. So it's always better to prevent. And so, with regards to, let's say, sticking to the theme of the day of employees, sometimes someone might lose his or her job. That person has bills to pay, expenses, has debt, has a bunch of things going on. Maybe baby mama drama, baby daddy drama, whatever type of drama. And your job is basically very important. A job is very important. Your income, I have to say, is very important to you. Sometimes it adds to your identity as well. So if you lose that, you lose that buffer that can help you relieve the stress, other types of stresses, because now you can't pay to, you have money problems. Can't go to work to maybe get out of a particular situation. You can provide for your family, those type of things. And sometimes things like that, people in a situation might think, okay, I'm gonna make one decision now. It can be either to harm themselves or to harm others. And it's important to keep calm in situations like that. Don't create a situation. In his example, he reacted. He was emotional. I would argue that he was protecting his property because the dog is his property. But that's the lawyer in me speaking, of course. But nonetheless, he would have had to go and defend himself. You don't want that problem. So it's always better to not get in a particular situations. Don't let your emotions get the best of you, because you only need 1 second to regret everything. And even if you're not here to regret it because you chose to harm yourself, the pain you leave behind is going to be immense. So it's not worth it. Stay calm. Seek out maybe a psychologist or someone or people you can talk to, and remember that everything is temporary. The good times are temporary. The bad times are temporary. Nothing lasts forever.
And like his story ends, within a year time, things might change totally.
Completely.
So,
yeah. And make sure that it changes for the good, because if it
also, yeah,
it could have changed for the bad as well. Could have changed for the bad as well.
For the bad.
Yes. Yes.
And that was the end of chapter 3.
Yes, guys. Thank you, everybody that's that has stuck around with us. We're almost at the end. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Thank you for sharing the video. Remember to subscribe to our channel as well. That's very important. If you haven't done so already, also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, our social media platforms. As said, we are going to be posting a lot more. You're going to see more activities there. Also, Kiara and I are talking about some additional things to do in the future with regards to this channel. We have some things cooking, a lot of things cooking, but we're building it as we fly. And Kiara, I'm currently reading the book, the Patrick by David book, Your Next 5 Moves. And basically in that book, PBD explains the importance of having your moves in the right order. You might not want to get to C before having had A or B, or else C won't last long.
He got cooked. Adrian, you didn't go down like that, huh? He got cooked.
Yeah. So with that being said, KR, should I go to the conclusion, or did you want to say something before we go?
No, I think it's time we can basically make a conclusion of what we've discussed today and basically summarize, and we'll yes, so we can.
Okay. Thank you for your permission. So, guys, today
You're
we
welcome.
talked about the theme of the day was talking about the layoffs going on in the tech industry, and you see the title. Karen and I talked about the layoffs and posed the question, who will be next? We had 3 chapters, 3 segments in today's show. In the first segment, we analyzed all the dismissals, all the layoffs that were taking place in the tech industry specifically. We saw major percentages of employees being dismissed. Some companies. What was the highest percentage? Do you remember that, KR?
Well, Twitter. That's
Twitter,
easy.
yeah. Twitter. By far.
By far.
Was it 60%?
50.
50%.
Plus some people who left by themselves,
Yeah.
of course.
So a lot of people. So yeah, but a lot of people getting have lost their jobs during the last couple of
last
4 or 5
year.
months. Yeah.
And also, if you take into account during pandemic.
Well, the tech industry, particularly
tech. Okay, tech was last year.
Tech industry, not they thrived during the pandemic, but now they are suffering. What we've also talked about, I've talked a little about the legal aspects, right? How the laws of layoffs are. So what the laws are, what the rules of layoffs are in the United States. Also made some comparisons to the European legal system. So the difference between the common law system and the European system. Remember, guys, I am a lawyer, but I do not practice in the United States. So all the information I provided was information that I have researched and discovered for advice particular to your situation. It's important that you seek out a lawyer in your jurisdiction, and don't pull a Amber Heard. Don't get a lawyer that's not a labor lawyer to represent you. You need a lawyer that's actually competent in the field where you need assistance.
Are you taking shots at grandma?
I mean, you called her grandma, not me. So yeah. So and the next part, there's the second segment. We talk about the Richcession, which is basically what the current round of recession is being called, due to the fact that a lot of rich people,
Well,
or
corporate level.
yeah. So
C-level.
people with a higher position within a company are getting dismissed. KR, when asked, KR speculated that the reason for these people being laid off in this round is probably due to the fact that their salaries are high, they cost a lot, and yeah, the company needs to get rid of them. That sounds harsh, but that's basically what's going on. In the final chapter, we talked about more the hiring aspect, what was going on. We started with a Tim Cook video, or at least a video of Tim Cook and
Jeff
Bezos talking about what can be done, what you can do as an employee during these chaotic times to have a better chance of surviving, or at least keeping an income. You know, you don't want to lose everything. And I added some other points. Amongst other things, I said that it was important to have a side hustle, or to focus more on your side hustle if you have one. Networking is important. You need to make sure that, if you have people in high places, or people that can make sure, that can help you with getting a job, maybe it's about time you give that call, check in. Maybe don't call them now to ask for something, but at least check in first. You don't need to use
How's your girl? How's your baby? I haven't talked to you in 10 years, but
hey, we should meet up.
we should be.
When
Yo,
are
hey,
you
yo.
available tonight at 8? Yeah.
It's a rush. It's a rush.
Yeah, I also talked about entrepreneurship. Some people use these times to start their own companies, and what I said was, they say never waste a good recession. Is that how the saying goes? Never waste a good recession, I think. But at least these are times, of course, a lot of negative things going on.
Good
but
crisis. That's true.
Yeah, a crisis. Never waste a good crisis. So this is a lot of things are going on that are maybe not so good, but don't waste a good crisis. There are opportunities lurking in every corner. You just need to keep your eye open, and maybe that would mean for you to start your own business, and then that would do that. But be mindful. It's important to have people around you that can advise you, not only professionals that can also advise you. I like the way Dave Ramsey says it: people with a heart to teach, because you want to learn for yourself as well. Especially the core things that you would need to protect your business. I always say a lawyer for the legal aspect, a tax advisor for the tax aspect, and a financial advisor for the financial aspect. And of course, if you want to grow, you can look for someone to help you with other things, marketing and those type of things. But at least be sure that you do it in a wise way. Don't start your business recklessly and earn money just to have to pay everything back because you didn't structure your business correctly.
Have a plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and with that, after the third segment, we started to wind down the show. KR shared a couple of stories. First, a story, or I don't know if it was the first story, but one of the stories was. Before we went to the stories, we asked ChatGPT some questions. The new Chat AI, or I don't know how new it is, but the new, at least in the news,
version 3.
Yeah, version 3 of Chat GPT, where we ask some questions, amongst other things, whether or not AI will take over the workforce completely and will replace humans completely in the workforce, and other questions relating to that main question. And basically, ChatGPT told us that a lot of repetitive tasks will be will be replaced by AI and robot, but that there would always need that we would all, or at least that the machines would always need humans to help do certain things. Maybe ChatGPT is
It's a
lying.
trap.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope ChatGPT is not programmed to lie. And
Come on, man.
we finalized the show with some lighter stories. One of them showing that you can be stupid enough to sabotage yourself, your own career, alluding to the vice president of what was the company?
Wells Fargo.
Wells
Wells
Fargo,
Fargo.
the bank, who, well, it's not allegedly, apparently, peed or urinated on a passenger, a 71 or 72-year-old
72 euros on its way to
lady
the toilet.
on his way to the toilet. So, claiming that the lady consented. So, that,
That's even more crazy.
that's crazy. But that was the first.
This is madness.
That was the
Hey,
first-
I blame the lawyers for that one, man. It's your fault, RJ. Your kind.
And
Just kidding. Just kidding.
we ended with the story of the, what's his name? The guy who played
John Bernthal.
John Bertel in the, you might know him from The Punisher and The Walking Dead, who shared a story of how he almost lost everything because he lost control in one moment and hit someone who was, he was being a douchebag, but him letting his emotions take over almost cost him all his opportunities. So what we know, we wouldn't know him like we do today.
Definitely.
Which we showed just to show you that, just to make the link with the theme of today. You might be going through bad things, terrible things. You might have gotten laid off, or you might be getting laid off, whatever the case may be. Stay calm. Don't let your emotions take the best of you. Don't harm yourself, nor the people around you, or other people for that matter, because you just need one foolish moment to change everything. And you have the power to decide whether you want to change it for the good or risk changing it for the bad.
And don't forget the fact that after a year, he got all those roles that made him popular. So
yeah,
it's not the end. It's
No,
just a new beginning.
shouldn't. Yeah. Yes, guys. So with that being said,
Infotainment.
thank you to all the viewers who are watching the live or still watching the live. And of course, those watching the rebroadcast. Whatever your thoughts are, please let us know in the comments below. Remember as well to rate the show by pressing the like button. Follow us on all social media platforms, but more importantly, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We really appreciate all the support we've been given by all of you. Thank you as well to all the new subscribers. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. It really helps us to reach our goals as in a shorter period of time as possible. Remember, guys, let's have a healthy conversation in the comment section below.
Yes.
With that being said, until next time, guys. Peace.
Peace.